Hi, everyone. I'm Jes Hathaway, Editor-in-Chief of National Fisherman, and today I have with me Nick Edwards, owner of the Carter Jon out of Coos Bay, Oregon. Hi, Nick.
Hello, hello.
Thanks for joining me today. So we're going to talk a little bit about Dungeness season, but I wanted to give you a chance to introduce, what you do out of Coos Bay. I know you've got the FB Carter Jon. Can you give us a little bit of background on that?
Yeah, I bought the Carter Jon in 2004 after my vessel, the Jaguar, had sunk, and I waited for that insurance money check. And I had 26 vessels to look at back on the East Coast. And Florida was my first pit stop, and Mayport, Florida is where I ended up buying the Carter Jon. It was previously the Linda Lucille. And then I brought it around the coral reefs of Florida and then on to Pilot Battery, Alabama, and spent 2 months working on the boat in Alabama. And then I brought it around through the canal and home.
Nice. So, and how long ago was that? 2004,
Uh,
you said?
2004.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the year that the alphabet went through with hurricanes that year. That's something that I didn't plan on. I missed 5 hurricanes around dodging those things, getting home. And yeah, when I think Hurricane Charlie came ashore, I think it was August 9th, and that was my weather window to leave. So then I got all the way down off the Yukon Channel, and then I think Hurricane Earl was coming across. So then I went back to go back to Florida, and then when they downgraded that to a tropical storm, then I went back down, set course to Belize and on down to Cristobal, and went and hid in Cristobal. And the first night I got there, it blew 60 there, and our anchor drug, and our outriggers were out, and there were a lot of sailboats anchored up that were not very happy with us, but we did pull our outriggers up and reposition our anchor. Whew. Then the next day we were boarded by the Panamanian Navy because of disappointing some of the sailboats there. It was a bad night.
Wow. So you've had some adventures right off the bat on the Carter Jon.
Well, that's the commercial fishing industry. There's always something going on in the commercial fishing industry, or being a vessel owner.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know you fish, Oregon pink shrimp with Carter Jon, and right now you've got your crew out for Dungeness. Can you give me a little bit about what's going on in the season?
Yeah, it's amazing here. Now I think we're 8 days into the season here, and Oregon has landed just over 4 million pounds in the first 8 days of the season. So
Yeah.
pretty substantial. Last year, I think we put a little over 12.2 million pounds in Oregon, but the Oregon Dungeness crab, or the West Coast fishery, Dungeness crab fishery, is the single largest grossing species that we have on the West Coast. And I think in Oregon, we have 433 permit holders.
Wow. And the season so far, I mean, besides being robust in terms of what you're landing, the prices are really strong right now.
Yeah, the X vessel price is between $4.75 and $5.
Wow.
And we started the season last year at about $3 a pound. So this year we started right out of the gate at $4.75. So, it should be a good hit for the fisheries. And the great thing is that everything started on time. It's the first time that we started the Dungeness crab season in the last 6 years, I think 2014, 2015 season. And so that means that every small boat, every large boat, everybody got to dump their gear on time. It was flat weather. And so the 73-hour or 74-hour pre-soak period happened. So everybody gets to get their fair share, big boat, small boat. It was good to see.
Yeah, and they can get out for the weather windows that work for them. Last year, what time did you start last year? Do you remember about when? I know it's been
I
a
think,
long time since.
you know what? I'm not sure. I think it was January,
Yeah.
January 1st, I think.
So do you think that opening price has a lot to do with the fact that you can pump up the markets for the holidays?
We used to think that, but in all honesty, with the quotas being cut in Alaska on snow crab and king crab,
Yeah.
and the lack of crab through the supply chain, Dungeness crab is being put back up on that pedestal. We used to receive more money for Dungeness crab than snow crab. And what's happened to snow crab? Snow crab has went up through the roof, and now finally we're catching up with the snow crab fishery, or the Apelio crab fishery.
Yeah. That's a great point. I mean, there's definitely going to be a dearth of American crab on the market this winter. So we're happy to see any crab that we can get out there. And I'm really glad that you guys, so far, it's been a really good season. I mean, it's been, so far relatively safe. I know the Coast Guard was out ahead of time trying to get people, get their stickers and run contingencies, and it seems like it's so far it's been a good weather window for everyone getting out there.
It is great, and I can't say enough about the U.S. Coast Guard out here. They are our cavalry. Whether it's blowing 60 or 30, any mishap out there, they are out there saving our bacon. They've personally saved me, 4 different times in the past, and different, experiences out there that happen out on the ocean. So we're very lucky to have these motor lifeboat stations, and the helo stations. Most importantly, the helo stations. The response time is an hour. And
Yeah.
that's really good to hear, that a response time is an hour or less. Because of having these helicopter stations. Between Humboldt Bay, California, North Bend, Oregon, Newport, Oregon, and then Astoria, Oregon.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that you testified to keep those stations where they were when there was a threat to cut them and to save some costs. But like you said earlier in our conversation, the response time would have been 2 hours instead of 1 hour, which is the difference between life and death in a lot of cases, especially in heavy weather.
Absolutely. April 14th of 2004, I had my bad day at the office with the fishing vessel Jaguar. And without that hour of response time, and we would have been, hopefully we would have been on our life raft or in our survival suits. But luckily that they were there with a helicopter and a motor lifeboat with less than an hour to save all my crew and myself.
Yeah, absolutely. So can you tell me a little bit, Nick, about who's running your boat this season and what are they seeing out on the water?
Well, I've had a young man work for me for 21 years. His name is Eric Perez, and they're out there fishing right now. This is day 8 for Dungeness crabs. So they came in, got a little bit of bait and some groceries, and now they're back out. And we're running 5 people on the boat. We're running a four guys on deck, which most of the big boats like myself are, and then the captain up in the wheelhouse. So, and if you're fortunate enough to have another guy that can drive, they rotate. So they don't sleep. You just keep going. And he who has it, he who can stay out the longest and keep enough bait on board and keep running gear instead of coming in during the flat weather, will obviously catch more crab than the rest.
Yeah. So you've got 5 guys on board right now. What about crewing this year? Have you had troubles? I know it's been a problem on every coast, finding reliable crew, people who want to come back. What's been your story this year?
Through shrimp season, it was really hard for the supply chain for everybody, for employees. And it really did transfer to the fishing vessels. But, we were lucky enough to go through shrimp season and have our guys and not be sitting in the dock. I know other vessels that didn't have crew and they walked off the boat, and here's a boat sitting there waiting to go out and get in its rotation to catch shrimp. Very fortunate with my guys for crabbing. I probably have the best crew that I've had on the boat. When you have usually you have a couple green guys or whatnot, but I'm able to have 3 guys on the boat that can run the crab block. And another guy that can captain the boat while the captain takes a nap also, run a string of gear that takes you 3 hours to run. The captain can get a nap, and somebody else that is able to drive the boat can run down the strings, and so the operation keeps going. So this year has been the toughest year ever in my career for keeping an adequate force on the boat for crew, because without your crew, you're nothing.
Yeah.
Crew is very, very vital. And luckily, the guys on the boat that I have, my captain takes care of the boat just like it was his.
Yeah, that's great to have. Do you have any greenhorns this year?
We do. We have 1 greenhorn on the boat, Michael Cowan, and Michael has done a great job. He's been working for contractors his life, and he's always wanted to try the Dungeness crab fishery. And I got to ask him yesterday when they were in for the short little stint getting bait, have you ever worked this hard in your life? He goes, no, never, because we work around the clock, and then you get a 4-hour nap, and then you wake up from that days, and then you do it again. And then, in between strings, you chop up the bait, and he's the guy that's making the bait for all the bait jars and the chew bags, and so he's the little guy on the totem pole that gets the least amount of sleep. So
Yeah.
it's been an interesting thing for him to learn, but he's going to get paid very well for it. He's thankful to have the job, which is nice to hear.
Yeah. I mean, what a year to get going, but yeah, tough work and stinky on top of that. But yeah, hopefully it'll pay off for everybody. We're really pulling for you guys. I know it's been a really wild last 10 years pretty much in the Dungeness fishery. It's been, I mean, I guess it's always like this in commercial fishing, like you were saying before. There's always something, right?
I mean, this year, everybody will have a Christmas, right? There was no strikes this year. We all just went to work. It was so nice to see for a change. I wish we could pull this playbook every year, and we don't have domoic acid this year. We don't have, the meat fill got changed a couple of years ago, going from a 25% recovery below Cascade Head in the center of Oregon down, and then above Cascade Head on up to Washington, and the top of Oregon was 23%. So the meat fill got changed to 24% below Cascade Head. So usually the season might not open because the crabs don't have enough meat fill in it.
Right.
So because of the whale entanglement issues that we've been going through in the last years, which you guys have on the East Coast, it was lowered to 24% to start the season earlier to get the bulk of the crab and get the bulk of the gear out of the water before the whales start transitioning to the north.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's very rare that you get changes like that in order to keep the fleet running. So that's good news.
And what's amazing this year is that the meat fill recovery was at 25, 26, 27% recovery.
Yeah.
And to start harvesting December 1st, which we haven't seen in years either. So
yeah,
great to see. So
it
let's hope that Oregon, comes in a little bit above last year. I think last year's, just like I said, a little over 12.2 million pounds, and maybe we'll see an increase to 14 or 15 million pounds. Yet to be determined, right?
Yeah. Well, keep making hay while the sun shines. Thanks for joining us so much, Nick.
Well, thanks for having me. I greatly appreciate it, Jessica.
Take care.